Attention gamers. For as long as there's been a meta in League of Legends, there's been people trying to break it with weird, unique and sometimes actually really creative ways to break the game. Close to 10 years ago when I was still a young chad and my pocket pork sword had a few less inches on it, I remember watching a famous Breaking the Meta series from a YouTuber who I thought was named Soul Wolf, but looking back at his channel now those videos are either deleted or I have the wrong guy, but regardless, there's been a drought of interesting off-meta analytical breakdowns since then until I found Happy Chime Noise's channel. Now in case you live under a rock and have never heard of this guy, he finds players who have achieved very high ranks in solo queue by one-tricking odd or off-meta picks and breaks down who these people are, what the pick is, why it works, and how to replicate it. And while there are obvious disadvantages to going against the toxic rift grain, like running the risk of your teammates giving up before the game even starts purely because of your pick, there are also advantages highlighted in Chime's videos around others not knowing how to play against your pick, as well as you having so much experience on one champ you can focus on other elements of the game instead of clumsily fumbling over the mechanics of that pick. So when I saw that someone who has analyzed hundreds of successful off-meta picks decided to make a tier list, I thought it would be fun to try his best pick.
In my opinion, it is the best off-meta pick we have at the moment. Nunu mid.
His worst pick.
That crown goes to AP Gangplank.
And after an intimate Discord conversation with the Bard Ballsack enthusiast himself, his favorite pick of all the off-meta madness he has covered to show what it looks like to take these million-point mastery players' strats on their one-trick off-meta picks, and have a hard-stuck awful idiot try them while first timing the champ. And no cap, these were some of the most fun games I've had in a while, which just proves that going against popular opinion is sometimes the most rewarding. Like in terms of mobile games, the meta might be that Wordle, but while others are testing new words, I'm over here exploring new worlds on the greatest handheld source of pure pleasure since the
Rev, I don't know where you were going with that, but stick to the script please.
Today I want to talk about how you get new champs through shards. Now there are 4 types. The green beans, which usually will hold the losers, those classified as common rarity just like any other mobile game that's not raid looking like some frat pledge getting hazed. Then there's the blue babies, which have better chances of getting rare champs like the gladiator who literally has a spell named torture. And you want to know how enemies react to being tortured? The purple puppies have a good chance of summoning epic champs that look like a raid version of Rihanna, which can have insanely strong auras. And lastly, the king's carrots. These gems are very hard to come by but pack the highest chance of getting a champ that is
wait for it,
legendary. Like Prince Chimer, who absolutely just became my best champion. But in case you are some soulless being who doesn't enjoy opening gifts, the game gets updated more than Rise's kit, like how this month there's a new rotation of the Hydra boss and a bunch of dank events where you can get a brand new legendary champion. So if you want to experience opening your own shards, use my link in the description or scan my QR code to get silver energy XP boosts, shards and an epic champ Ina, who is better than a lot of pipsqueaks you'll get from those presents. Raid Rav out. Alrighty, rolling into Chime's best off-meta pick, it's time to get a song stuck in all your heads, because if you remember my ELO Hell Doesn't Exist video, I had a trackpad Nunu that gave us all PTSD. So I knew that if I was going to play this champ, something had to be done first. That's right, off-meta Nunu was my name and a level 1 surprise invade was my game. But this small child riding a large flamboyant yeti was more persistent than a herpes, so I pinglished my team as a way of saying Zamboni be coming from the south this time, so everyone join in and wave bye-bye to that cow's flash, and things were already looking good. Anyways, I followed the strat of flattening round one of the red crack babies and then looking to roam, which had Hoppy Zelda all hot and bothered, until the ghost of trackpad Nunu came over my body and, well, so I guess you could say the beginning of this game wasn't exactly off to the best of starts, but it's not like they are going to get away with 10 health every time.
Pussy.
Okay, so that wasn't good either, but I was still feeling optimistic.
A summoner has disconnected.
Well, at least our support being stuck down south as the 1 cup to their team's 2 girls aka getting shit on meant they would be low and ready for some big snow right after. But here's the thing about me. I don't watch one 10-minute video on an off-meta strat perfected by someone who has spent hundreds of hours on such champ only to think I can first time lock it in and have success, but instead get dicked with 3 failed ganks and an AFK teammate just to quit. No, I saddle this pink drooling Mike Sullivan up and lead these morons on a detour straight to dead bitch town. Damn right, surprise honey's rab daddy kicking ass, taking names, and about to snowball this game for his team. But look on the bright side, Seraphine was already back and the enemy team thought domesticating a large-ass ladybug linebacker would prevent them from getting bitch bowled into oblivion, as I'm just like, I can't hear ya, Miss Samira. Prob cause you're a dead hoe, but then I had to channel a big frozen fart to survive the Simp King as my jungler was shutting so many things down you'd think he was the YouTube monetization team reviewing my channel vids. But I guess the perk to having a chode Viking who's angry because he has a short wiener complex acquiring financial stability from so many shutdowns is that when he lights himself on fire you just have to try your best to support such antics, and bam, I see why Nunu mid is so strong these days. I'm single-handedly crushing these kids. Anyways, I didn't want to reverse Pavlov this Garen and make him think Trackpad Nunu's song meant bad things for our team, so I had to clear my name by rolling the world's largest disco ball straight into that anal retentive fencing instructor to keep her in place long enough for my William to bite her head off for the kill. Then I was doing some light disco driving back to mid when I saw I had a tail, which meant And considering my plays were making this mid diff so apparent a few minutes later when Garen and his Twitter manager were off dragon hunting, I was on the hunt for something more beefy, pun intended, and since I had more CC than a spam email to keep him in place long enough to ult, we had some grass-fed Olaf killed meat that night. That said, I learned from Chime's video that the mid-game surprise snowy queef quakes were the way to win the game, so you already know. So things were more on fire than a gender reveal party in 2020 with me holding the power to put us out of our misery, but then I saw that our twirling titan was toxic. And I had an epiphany that things were going to turn around for my team. We were moving players back to their base. Our Seraphine was reconnected and ready to kill. I was continuing to prove that this catchy tune means nothing but bad things, and our jungler was filing his submission for a formal name change because we were all on the black and white screen bench going Olaf more like oh damn lof. Bitch bounties were confusingly being claimed by Garen, who was in our base, and all we needed was a tight hallway for a 5-man Seraphine ult to turn it around until I remembered that fucking Samira can just push W and outplay the world for 3 seconds, so needless to say my experience on Chime's best off meta pick was slightly short of swell. What's next? Okay, so my hopes were lower than a limbo bar in hell that this would go anyway but utter awfulness, but it turns out I was laning against someone who actually spent money on a Yasuo skin, which meant he would be deeply afflicted with stupidity. So on the first all in I hit a shot of my corrupted cold brew, then lit he whose shit is wind on fire and flash barrel blasted that bitch back to base. And this particular one's airbending idiocracy was in full force as the next slap fest resulted in me throwing a Miralax tablet up into the sky and having it shit itself down onto us for another easy kill. Then it's recommended to rush Lich Bane and use that fat AP to see if their Janna's weather forecast could see the fiery boulder rain coming down, which long story short got us the kill and started prompting some curiosity among the enemies. And I guess this pick is tough because not everyone can handle the super high mechanical skill level required to get kills on this champ, but I guess you could say I was just a natural. Not to mention knowing how tanky Tangerine deep throating makes you beefy enough to bait in fights, and let's just say this Yasuo now knows firsthand why my nickname was the Master Baiter, and these flawless mechanics were now starting to spark attention of even more jealous losers. So basically that was it. They all hated me for smurfing, and I think retiring AP Gangplank after one game at my peak with a perfect KDA laning against a literal chipmunk wearing VR goggles was good enough, leaving one pick left for this Mr. Meta Breaker to try, inting AP Shaco support. And you should watch Chime's videos to get the full strategies on these picks, but this one basically boiled down to being the most annoying bag of shit to enemies that you can, starting with a few boo boxes in the bushes to send that sheriff straight into tiltover and ultimately, back to base. Side note, we had a Twitch top, which meant a little surprise supreme was in order, which also meant that stocky armored up ginger was about to get expunged by a sewer rat, as I'm thinking let's give that blue haired ninny muggins the Shaco shaft as well, until a wild Project Beedrill appears and I hit a Dua Lipa 180 the fuck out of there while simultaneously starting a new round of Bait the Kate on my way to safety. An anonymous tip told us that a large dragonfly was rubbing one out in our shrubs, and sure enough we caught him in the act, so I sneak and pop out and we exchange a few words before a little I flash you flash red flash blue flash ensues and he gets pesticided. Then the map punctuation is warning us about something, but all I care about is that people who play Leona get shit shanked, speared and slaughtered on my watch. Turns out the previous pings were a way of telling us that Count Dracula was about to come down for some blood sucking, but considering Caitlyn sucked even more, it wasn't a great outcome, leaving me here wondering how and why at 9 minutes into the game all 5 people on my team are vandalizing a tier 1 tower, but I was all for it. And 11 minutes into a silvery low game means we've waited long enough to start ramming in this bitch, as Twitch is like I was hiding and everyone on their team is like cool now you're dead, as I sneak in, politely ask Mr. Putin to hold my shank, and then I try my best to keep Cupcake out of the fight while fatiguing their fart-mongering samurai to save my boys. Side plot, our Twitch both knew who I was, and was banned from my stream but wouldn't tell me what his name was or why he was banned, so just your average negative IQ conversation in game chat to compliment me, giddily skipping behind this pissed off praying mantis stabbing dat ass for the kill. Then this Leo was like, can we either get a casting couch or a washing machine down here so that this DP dick and I'm about to take is at least following the popular trends. Hey, did you hear the one about the mispositioned Yasuo who didn't use his ult and instead just ran to safety? Yeah, neither did I.
I broke up with my ex-girl. Here's a number. Psych! That's the wrong number!
Typical Yasuo running away from safety as he tells us to face the wind, and I'm just like, how about you face my clown sack omega lol, as we chase until Ka scares the literal twin out of me, but it works out considering the windshitter and his butt buddy Beedrill get benched together. And I guess one reason this works is that you can stare a ponytailed airbender who has 3 levels on you straight in the eyes, hit him with a tranquilizer, clown mitosis, confuse a tornado out of him, and wait for some chick chucking boomerangs to show up as you sneak back in for one shift shank redemption for dessert. A few minutes later a group of the boys were hanging out mid, but no one brought sunscreen, so instead of getting tan they got monochromatic screen, but you know what they say, when life gives you lemons, sneak your Jester McFester ass into the crime scene, light a bug on fire and run away, letting Draco Malfoy think he's got a kill and you will be golden. Side note, someone give this Caitlyn a participation award for loading into the game. And with this being my first time playing Chuckles the annoying shit bag, I have to agree with Chime that it's a total blast considering I'm strong enough to absolutely meme on their shitty sheriff, but I also have the toolset to get in some O.J. Simpson runway chase type of tomfoolery. Then there was some stereotypical Yasuo things, followed by my jungler getting outsmited by their mid laner, forcing us to settle for consolation Leona, who should just change her name to Lana the Radiant Dickon because she was straight Miss Rhodes status, taking on all of us at once, and thus, one more team fight where I had my suicide bomber twin brother Hester the Jester, and the Shaco shenanigans were through. Thanks again to Raid for sponsoring the stupid shit I say in these videos, and brush your teeth tonight. Rav out.